radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Hey, good evening. How you doing? How you doing? It's Fade to Black. Yeah, and it is Monday, March 16th, 2026. Let's do this, man. Yeah, okay, coffee at the ready. This is good to go. Whoo! This week on Fade to Black. Great week. A little bit of a short week. No show on Thursday, but tonight, Nic Scogna is with us. Self-awareness. I have the feeling you guys knew this show was coming up. That's called self-awareness. Yeah. I was looking inside myself to reflect back onto you. Tomorrow night, Gabian Marin is with us because it's St. Patty's Day. Every year, St. Patrick's Day goes from the opposite of what everybody else does, which is bar hopping at 7 a.m., seeing how plowed you can get before work, right? And then to continue after. No, not around here. No, St. Patty's Day around here is all about the paranormal on that island. Yeah. So that's tomorrow night. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then now check this out. Wednesday night is the Monroe Institute. And from the Monroe Institute, Luigi Sciambarella is with us. Yeah, I just butchered his last name, because he's Italian. He's going to come in here and he's going to go, yo, Jimmy, it's pronounced. Wednesday night, the Monroe Institute. That is going to be absolutely amazing. And then Thursday night, we are off air. I am going to be in Sedona this weekend for the Ascension retreat. It's going to be a lot of fun. And our producer around here, Michelle, is presenting at the Ascension retreat. Yeah. She normally, she's there. She's my producer. She runs around and does things and is my right hand, but no. Now she's a presenter. She's going to walk around. Selfie? Yeah, that's Michelle. The Sedona Ascension retreat. I know she's listening right now and laughing. Is this weekend. It is March 20th through the 22nd in Sedona, Arizona. And the website is easy if you're heading out that way and you want to check things out. SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. The links are below. And I'm wondering, I'm going to defer to the chat. The chat's too busy. Okay, I was going to. Holly Hall sent me an email. I'm here, Jimmy. We've arrived in Sedona and very excited about that. But I'm wondering if Holly is in the chat. Hey, Bill, John, somebody. Is Holly in the chat? Oh, man, I just called out Holly Hall. Let's see if she's in the chat. All right, so there you go. All right, so I'm excited about the show. I'm excited about the week, and I'll be back. We've got a full week of shows next week here on Fade to Black. So there you go. Everything is fine, everybody. You can relax. I do have a lot of travel this year, and between this and the travel and beyond belief, you guys are going to feel a little bit shorted, and it's nothing. It's kind of like, and people ask me this a lot now. Okay, church, how can you you juggle it. You just get it done. That's all. Just be positive and work your butt off. That's it. That's it. So every spare day that I have, Fade to Black's happening. Okay. All right. Before I bring in Nick, I want to show you guys something. I was in my garage and doing some straightening out there, and I found in a box that I hadn't opened in years. So I opened this box, and there is another box inside the box. I was like, man, I haven't seen that. Wow. So I take it. It was on a stand before. Anyway, so I open it up to see what's inside of it. And what was inside of it, I kind of remembered everything as I'm looking at it, was like 25-year-old stuff. Okay. And in the box was this, a 20-year-old LG smartphone that I have not seen. I'm guessing when I say 20 years old, it's got to be 2005 or something. So I slapped it on a charger, and it's been charging today. What I'm curious about is what's on it. I have not touched and it's look at this thing, right? The pictures, the images, the video, what is on this phone? Yeah, man, it's like a time capsule. And also in the same box, which I can't find the charger for, was a Nikon camera. Little red, you remember those? It was red, metallic red, a red Nikon camera that's got some whack charger on it. So I don't know what to do about that, but I'm going to figure that part out too as well, and see what's on that Nikon camera. And that Nikon goes back too as well, man. It's crazy to think about it, to even suggest this. Year 2000, maybe 2001, 2002. That's 25 years old. A digital camera that's now an antique. So anyway, be prepared. I'm going to post some. I can only imagine what is on this phone. So there you go. Have you done that yourself? Do you have a drawer full of old cell phones? I have older ones. It's just that this was my first smartphone with like a semi-decent camera on it, that I only had this phone. I don't even know. I probably used it for a year, maybe. But do you have a drawer full of phones? Do you? Oh, I can top that. In the same box, I should have brought this into the studio. In the same box was a camera bag. A little padded camera bag. And I looked at it and I went, okay. I kind of remember that. I took it out, opened it. Inside are 2 Sony video cameras. Right there. I remember buying them. I remember kind of using them. Again, this is going back. And they're sitting there. Yeah. Okay. But those had the batteries, and I had the battery chargers. And so what's on and you can take the cards out. But now I've got 2 Sony video camera, 20-year-old video cameras that are there. All right. Anyway. All right. Moving on. Tonight, Nic Scogna is with us. And we're going to be talking about life energy, right? Consciousness tonight is going to jump in there. But self-awareness and their formulas. That's right. We're going to get into it. He's an author. The links for Nick are below. I'm going to keep this very quick because he is the president of Life Energy Publications, and which falls back to his father too. It was developed by his father, Joseph Scogna Jr., And we're going to talk about those patterns of us and life and how it influences the world and everything around us. We're going to do all that and much more tonight. I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Nic Scogna. And he's right there. Nic, good evening, young man.
Good evening. All right. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, sorry for the long rant. I'm just so excited, dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, you know,
I've got a
I'm
few.
wondering, yeah. I'm wondering, is there going to be a I remember.
Yeah.
Oh,
Memories
man.
that you
Yeah.
forgot that you even had stored in there.
Yeah,
You'll see the
exactly.
picture and you'll get
Yeah,
flashes of something that you were doing at that time.
Be careful what you ask for.
That's
Right? Just be careful what you ask for. Welcome to the show. You get the first time guest disclaimer. I'm very excited about the show. We talked about it earlier, and we'll get into that in just a second. But you get the first time guest disclaimer. You're a fan of the show. You know what's coming. So let's get it out of the way. Nic, it's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. And where that conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends. But we're going to end as friends. Now, you have to accept.
And it's really a valuable opening because it really puts somebody like myself at ease. And I do accept. Yeah.
You knew it was coming.
Yeah.
You knew it was coming. I'm not sure where to start tonight because we can do a variety of different things. Okay, actually, before we go into the past, let's start with this. As I mentioned to you earlier, a couple of months ago on an AMA on this very program where I answer, questions from the Fadernauts and stuff, somebody busted out, okay, church, man, are you self-aware? Are you hip to self-awareness? And I am. Well, the answer is yes to both of those questions. But this was the trippy part for me, Nic. I was like, are they asking because they think I lack self-awareness? Right? And now, that's the self-awareness kicking in right there.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Basically.
it was like, do I need to tiptoe through this? Is there something? And no, I'm self-aware enough that I don't read between the lines anymore. I just take it straight at, because if you read between the lines too much, self-awareness will wreck you. Right?
Basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but let's start there.
Yeah.
What is self-awareness?
Well, clearly it's something that we would think is like being awake and conscious, like consciousness, rather than being unaware or asleep. So self-awareness is where we start to look inward, or we start to evaluate things from a perspective of consciousness, that we're actually reflecting on processes, stimulus that's coming at us or from us or something like that. So it's basically, it's like a reflection. You had mentioned it before, that self-awareness is that bit of awareness of self. Break the word down, right?
Right. And so before we get to your father and your work too, as well, you're the guest on the show. Your dad is not the guest tonight, but your dad did a ton of research into this, bringing this out to the world. So that's another foundational thing. But let's stay where we are for a second. Does someone have to be prepared for work and self-awareness? You know what I mean? Because it can also open up things and become, Bill just said, one of my moderators, hold on, let me just scroll back. This is what Bill just said. Self-awareness can be a blessing or a curse at times in my experience.
Yeah.
Bill's a better public speaker than I am. I think sometimes he should host this show. But he's right, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that there is a bit of survival in forgetting. And we do that when we have some kind of trauma or high impact event that happens to us. We try to save ourselves from having to relive the experience every day. So we block it or we veil it, we cover it up. That's done, I think, as a survival mechanism so that we can go on and move on and have other experiences, reflect on the bad. We have a good day. Now we know the good day is way better than the bad day. When we start to get into trying to work on ourselves and to figure out how things are going and why things are happening, that's when we start to what we maybe would call shadow work, because we're looking to dispel shadows. So that also means we have to confront them. And that means we have to like look at things that maybe we blocked out for what we thought was a good reason. So yeah, it can definitely be a blessing and a curse for sure.
Now, is social media evidence of a collapse of any self-awareness?
Social media is tough because it's a distraction. It's a lot going on that is stimulus, and I guess it really depends on how you use it, how it uses you, and the relationship that you have with it. It doesn't have to be something that's negative, but I think for most people, it serves as a pit of despair. Just you go in and it's just the doom scrolling and a never-ending assault of different things that never would have come across your table. So it's hard to say exactly. It depends on the person, and a lot of it does depend on each individual person.
There was a commercial that I saw. I saw it a few times. I just burped into my microphone in front of everybody.
All good.
Excuse me for that. You know what I did this weekend or last week? I'm taping Beyond Belief, right? So I'm sitting there, got a kick-ass guest, right? And we're going to, camera. It's all live. And I'm going, so I'm at burp. I was like, what? And it just came out of nowhere. And it was like, I just, it's going to make the outtake DVD with the director of commentary. I couldn't believe I've just done that twice in a week. See, that's being self-aware. Now that this is, this has started in my head. This is part of the thing with self-awareness.
It is.
It is now right. It's flagged in front of you, and now sometimes you can't get rid of it either. That
right.
It becomes
a cycle.
Yeah. Okay, so back to burping. I don't think. Okay, humans are the unique situation when it becomes a discussion about self-awareness. Animals. Well, hold on. Yeah. Okay, see, you know where I'm going. You're self-aware.
Yeah,
you're self-aware.
Well, at least in this research.
Yeah, right. Animals don't have a self-awareness issue. I don't think that they do. I think that they are complete. And they understand themselves and their place in nature and everything else. It's really their DNA has got it all figured out. And humans have made life complex. And that's true. So you know what I mean? Look, a lion smacking a baby gazelle in the ass and then eating it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Humans can't go and smack something and eat it. No, that's that's a different thing. A lion isn't going to reflect on the pain that the gazelle has been caused. You know what I mean? They understand there's no complex
on that
trauma
level
that they're working through.
But they would have memory, right, of the act. I think that would fall into more of a survival basic instinct, they might call it. That which we have as well. Remove all of our trappings, get us really hungry, and I think we're not going to care too much about the gazelle either.
or Dairy Queen. Yeah. That's a good answer, Nick.
So on the tier of that, and I should preface this with that I am also learning. I am in this as a student. A lot of this research was done by my father, who was exhaustive in his research. He wrote over 75 books, most of them unpublished, and he really delved into this very deeply, following his own pursuit of truth. And he wrote about when consciousness starts, and he says that it starts in the 7th level, which is like fats and just above, and protein matrices. So it's when proteins are developing that consciousness begins to unfold and develop. But think of it in gradients. So the animal may have a lower gradient of consciousness than we do, because we're a little bit more complex. And are there more complex species than us that we just aren't aware of? That would be maybe, another conversation, but
Octopus.
yeah, perhaps. Right. So it's really on the order of how complex it is and how much consciousness it's able to contain, and how much it's developed and established itself as a container for consciousness and self-awareness.
You know how self-aware I am? This is how bad it is. A waiter comes up and is reading the specials of the evening. And they go, so for an appetizer, we've got grilled octopus. Stop. Go to the next one. I can't even hear it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like so self-aware. Those kinds of things. And I developed this, and this is where we're going to swing back to your dad. I developed this on my own because of things that were affecting me on the outside that I had to figure out I'm talking about pain or just what is going on, and what is it that I need to avoid? What is it that I'm hearing? That provoke thoughts? And these thoughts drive me into another, wait a minute here. I've got to work on this stuff. I didn't pick up a book, right? But that was my journey into self-awareness. And that started, 20 years ago, and really kicked off 10 years ago in a hardcore sense. And today, at the age of 62, I'm 62. I wish I would have learned and felt these things earlier in life and dealt with them, because the last 20 years and the last 10 years and the last 5 years have been the best of my life, because I've got this figured out. Right.
Nice. Yeah.
Is that the same thing for most people as they go down this journey?
I think some people live their best life in the beginning, and then they just, have an existence thereafter that's maybe not their favorite. And then some people have a better development later in life because they've gotten through a lot of the barrage of things in life that they had to figure out, lessons they had to learn. Just depends, I think, on each person. But I'd like to think that mastery comes with age as I get older myself. You said 10 years ago, you would have been 52.
Right.
And in the Mayan calendar, you're not an elder until you've seen all the cycles of all the phases of the sun, which is 52 years. So you hit your elder time.
I knew it. I knew it. Yeah. I knew it. You mentioned consciousness. I got to get this back to your dad. Did your dad suggest that consciousness is local, and chemistry and biology and consciousness arises out of that?
Both, because you have to have the complex structure to receive the consciousness. And so yes and no, in a sense. So we wouldn't be able to be conscious without our structure.
Oh, for
but
sure.
Consciousness exists outside of humans. So it's not a human phenomenon. It's like I said, animals. He said at the protein level, consciousness, containment of consciousness begins. And think about like on a Tesla level, where you have an electrical, magnetic, you have two different poles basically, and you have a connection between the two. You don't have the proper communication happening until you have much more complex structures. So we're able to receive consciousness. We're able to experience it and utilize it because we're more complex, or as complex as we are, I should say. If that makes sense.
This is okay. Your dad's right, by the way. Very few things are facts, but this consciousness question, I think, is leaning more and more into that direction. That consciousness exists outside. Consciousness is first, and when we are ready, then we receive it.
Yeah.
And it cannot be the other way. Cannot be the other way. And then if we throw the proteins that you just brought up, right, and the amino acids and everything else, did you know? This is crazy. The moon Titan at Saturn, right? The moon Titan has an atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the atmosphere is made up of on Titan?
No, what's that?
You can say no. That's fine.
I don't know.
Okay. Are you ready? Every single amino acid and protein that make up RNA and DNA. All of it.
Wow. So it's ready to go.
you breathe. You know what I mean? And it's just like, say what? Right? If you took the atmosphere of Titan, a jar of it, brought it back to Earth, threw it in a bowl of water, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's a crazy thought, isn't it?
And yeah, it's like seeding for sure. Yeah.
It's a mind-blowing thing. And so if that's the case, back to what your father had stated, the ingredients that your father's talking about are all right there in the atmosphere of Titan.
Right.
And if that's just here in this little tiny speck of the universe that we call our star system, how much more of that is out there like that? Well,
everywhere.
Lot.
Yeah, everywhere. Which is something that gets into places where our mind won't go or can't go because it gets into that infinity realm. The numbers are so big. You can start counting whenever you want, but you're going to stop. Much like everything that we do here, it's very finite. It's very impossible for us to think beyond a certain amount of numbers. The numbers are so big that we can't really fathom it.
No, we can't. We like to call ourselves smart. Okay. All right. Okay. How big is too big?
Right.
That's right. That's the question. You have no idea how big those numbers are. Now back to your dad. Where did he start to develop these ideas where he not only obviously wrote them down and published books about it, but there's always something somewhere where things kick off. Second part of the question, was he pretty cool as a dad?
I believe he was. And that will answer the second one first. He was very determined and passionate about what he was doing, and he was on a mission. And to answer the first part, his saying of this, and it maybe I've heard a couple different stories from different people, so it just depends. But what he would say is that he went to a doctor. He had some issues. He found out that the most learned person, the doctor of medicine, didn't know what to do. They just gave him some antibiotics and said, try this out. He tried it out. It made him react to the sun. It made him, change, and he didn't really like the reaction. He said, Doc, he went back. He said, Doc, I don't understand. Like, whatever he gave me really messed me up. And so the doctor's like, well, all right, well, that didn't work. Let's try these. And just gave him more antibiotics of a different kind. So he really got, kind of like, whoa, the most learned person in medicine has no idea what to do but administer medication. And I'll try and keep this as PC for the internet as possible. But he went out on a mission to kind of get the answers that he was looking for. He had a sales background, so he brought a lot of that with him. So if you hear any of the seminars or any of the talks that he does, he's usually in a sales format for himself. He's selling a book or a program or something like that. But the information that he brings out is just amazing. So he was on a mission to basically find an answer for himself, and then that turned into something that he could use for other people. He did trial runs in clinics at the time. It was going to be, I guess, 78, 77 in that time frame. And then in 79, was it 79 or 80, was the 3 Mile Island. And that sent where we lived at the time, which was outside of Philadelphia, sent the whole area into a panic as if there was a potential for nuclear exposure, nuclear fallout. And that sent him on a different mission, which was to start investigating and researching radiation. And then that took him into a place that definitely connected a lot of the dots for what became the self-awareness formulas and his approach to his personal wellness, and what became other people's approach to finding out about themselves, and that kind of investigation for people wanting to learn more about themselves. He came up with a very interesting mathematical way to find out about these things. And if I go on a tangent, just let me know. But
a tangent away.
I can keep going, but
yes, I love this.
So,
I love this.
You know, his research basically began to encompass a lot of different systems, and so he wed them together, and he utilized his mathematical approach, turning everything into numbers, as a way to communicate amongst them one idea to get an answer. So if you had an issue, like it could be like a stub toe, or it could be a stomach ache, or it could be depression or whatever, and you would basically go through these questionnaires. It would be a subjective questionnaire that you would answer 120 questions based on how you're feeling about this situation or what the physical effects might be. Then it would crank out a bunch of numbers and list of priority as to what the issues are that are causing the major complaint of the person. So this is his way of basically composing a lot of different systems through math, and then the output could then be read through Chinese herbs or acupressure, acupuncture, herbalism, homeopathy, a whole range of remedies that somebody could do to help balance the unequalness shown in the chain of numbers, with the numbers that would be present from that mathematical matrix. So he found a way to formulate pretty much a timeline of a person's life, and find out where the imbalance is, either the high pressures or the lack of pressure, and then figure out how those needed to be balanced. So he did a lot of balancing. At one point, he said he was a bit of a elementologist or an elementalist, because he was working with the periodic table of elements and working on mineral balancing and things like that to try and help people balance the imbalance, basically. He put out a book at that point in time called The Prometheon, which was a very big book, like a 900-page book, very thick, formatted very badly, and now it's this thick, and 300 something pages. But it was basically to balance unequalness in the chart of somebody, in the chain of somebody. So his mission took him into a lot of different realms. In 83, we're going back, obviously, but in 83, he was working with programmers really early on in programming to create a program on the computer that would use infrared to do the same thing that the subjective questionnaires were doing, but it would take the radiation coming off of the person. So he was using infrared to basically read the person's energy, their heat energy, and mathematically formulate that into a chain, kind of removing the need for a person to, say, well, this is how I feel today, or, kind of be blinded by certain things.
Let me jump in.
Yeah.
It seems, okay, are we removing free will from the equation?
Yeah, a little bit.
You know what you know where I'm going with this. I mean,
well, there's a quote.
Math drives everything.
Yeah.
I understand that, but scientists and physicists especially will say this math, this algorithm, this working algorithm of everything since the origin of the universe
Yeah.
is a pattern that will continue. Therefore, in our own cells, right? We are stardust.
Yeah.
That free will doesn't exist. Now,
Deep.
if we
It's very
put
deep.
it's a crazy situation. So if we're looking at this with the self-awareness formulas that your dad is putting together,
Yeah.
and compiling the data and then coming up with answers for an individual, which I think is very solid. But are we touching on that? Is free will then removed from the equation?
Well, just to go on my own little tangent in that, we know the story of Gilgamesh is truly one of the earliest stories that we have, or the earliest, let's say, that's been written down. And it's a story of somebody that really wanted to break what he felt was he was fated to do. He had to be this thing. And he thought, is that possible? I'm 2/3 divine. Why do I have to die as a mortal? Why am I fated that way? And his whole journey was to try and find a way around it, to through his strength, because he was so strong and 2/3 divine, change his fate. And I believe the moral of that story was that he ended up being a king in a city and lived out his years, and they found his tomb recently or something like that. He did not go to the heavens, right? So it seems that we have maybe an illusion of free will, and that we are really we're on a quest to get that free will. And I think when we're working with self-awareness formulas, we're working with our self to look back into our lives and to see the different choices we had and the outcomes. And sometimes, wow, that's amazing how all these things linked up and led me to this place at the right time or the wrong time, depending on the situation. It's hard to say whether or not it's an actual part of our daily life, or if it's just something that we want, which is this free will thing. I look at the letter T, and we're walking up the letter T, and we come to a stop. We have to go left or right, and we always have the option to make a choice which way we're going to go. What the self-awareness formulas are showing us is that we've mainly gone whatever way we've gone, but we are in we're actually energetic electromagnetic beings, and we're like water. We're kind of following the path of least resistance continually over and over again, whether we're really aware of it or not. The free will there would be to make a choice that's outside of that, to clear it. And the question is, was that already preordained or not?
That's right.
It goes into time and all that other factors that we exist in as finite beings living, our existence. So wrapping around in circles, but that's how it works.
It's such a complex issue. I cannot deny the idea of particles are going to do what they are going to do. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We can't change that. And that's the creation of stars, or the death of a star, right? The creation of that is math. The spiral of the Milky Way, dude, that's particles doing their thing.
Right.
And it was going to be that way. You can't change. Okay. So I'm okay with that. All right. Okay. It's kind of hard to deny the math. What I'm not okay with is when I make the choice of cheese or no cheese on my double from In-N-Out.
Right.
That's my choice. And I made it in the moment. Strawberry shake instead of vanilla shake. I made that in the moment. And that was my thing. And now, if that's math and the universe just the illusion of free will, is that good enough? That I feel that I have free will, therefore I'm okay.
Yeah.
And
Right.
right. It's complex, man. It's a heavy thing. I can ask right now in the chat. Okay, how many of you say free will is a thing? Okay, just
Yeah.
type in me. Now watch the chat. Right now, that's I think the entire world thinks that way, except for Richard Dawkins and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Right? You know what I mean? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I would. This is going to be 100% of the chat room is going to, and so if the illusion of free will is just an illusion, does that make everybody happy? Can we take it off the table and not freak out on it?
If the illusion of free will makes people happy, I feel like, you know, you have to exert your will to make the choice to go right instead of the way that you would always go. I feel like that balance of taking a right and a left, a cheese and then a no cheese, and kind of stirring it up and keeping the friction low, keeping the unpredictable high, is a more of a balancing act than staying with the status quo and doing the same thing over and over again and not being in realization of the option of choice. So I'd think that you'd want to balance out free will with determined, like, you know, destined or fate or whatever you'd have it. So what the idea is to make the best choice for the way that you want to go. For, I guess they would say in the Warriors round, they'd say follow the path with the heart. And so that would probably be the route that you'd want to go to balance out most situations, because you don't want to end up somewhere where your heart is heavy and sour and, you know, not established. But what will build more consciousness is the reflection, the dichotomies of good and evil, or happy and sad, or all that. So if you're only in a great place, there's a quote on my tea label here. Actually, I thought it might come up. It says, "What a desolate place would be a world without a flower," from Balfour, right? But if you lived in a place without a flower, you'd never even know they exist. So there would be no flowers, so it wouldn't matter.
No, that is actually 100% correct.
Yeah.
If we lived in a world of nothing but goodness, then what is bad?
Yeah.
So now we're at levels of goodness, right? Okay. So, well, this level of goodness starts, you know what I mean? You go to heaven where it's nothing but bliss all the time. That's not a good thing.
Right.
You can't judge. I would be the only guy in heaven throwing bricks through windows at the donut.
Well, it also seems rather uneven, you know, so that, you know, again, we're looking for equilibrium in this realm. And that is what we want to be balanced. We want to find that balance, and knowing that we're not going to. I think that's very important, is that we want to find it. We want to seek it out. We want to get there. But we also need to know that, like, that there's no perfection. You know, there's not this balance, and there shouldn't be. There should be this ebb and flow as the land that we live in. You know, just like the waves, you know.
That's what drives the universe. There was a movie, it's a comedy. It's called Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. It's a great movie. It's a takeoff of Bruce Lee. It's really fun. Anyway, there's a Zen master. You remember, take the pebbles from my hand, right? It's a Kung Fu Zen master guy.
Yeah.
And through the whole movie, anytime he was asked a question, to go left, you must first go right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To go down, you must first go up.
Right.
And that was his whole thing. And it was very frustrating to listen to that, because but actually there's truth to that.
Right.
It's funny. It was funny and it was irritating after a while, but it's actually very true. Hot and cold, left and right, yin and yang, right?
Yang.
Good
Exactly.
and evil. Yeah.
Yeah. Choose your dichotomy. Exactly. And everything is in that, you know, pressure and space.
Can I use that? Choose your dichotomy.
Yeah. There you go.
That's a T-shirt. That's a T-shirt.
I'll make it.
But so,
Yeah.
so how do we notice the randomness then? How do we recognize the randomness if there is randomness?
I like, a lot of predictive things. People think this is going to happen, and then you try to ply your will to make sure that it doesn't happen. I mean, that's, randomness is again, kind of like making a choice that's outside of the box. It's going into space when you are in pressure. So it's really about finding a solution that maybe you weren't aware was even a possibility. That is a trick. How do you do it? How do you find a door in a wall that's just, you're in a box? How do you find the door? We like to say with SAF that you have a key that allows you to break through the wall or create a door to break into a new knowledge base and a new way of looking at things so that you're able to tackle these things, approach them in a way which is kind of outside of the box.
And you can only do that if you prepare.
And you want it. Right.
Right.
You have to be kind of on the path in a sense to even have a desire. It's a very much a mirror, especially the subjective. It's as serious with you as you are with it. And if you're not serious with it, it's not going to be serious with you. You're not going to get anything out of it. So in that light, the person is the input. The person is where all the input's coming from in the subjective. So they say they come in with a cough and they say they have a cold. The cold should come up because that's the input of the person. They say they're depressed. There should be depression in the chain. It should show up somewhere because that's what they came in with. It's part of what they're basically saying. This is what's in my field of view right now. This is what I see. SAF works to kind of uncover a chain of events, a sequence of energy from very beginning of life to say this one thing happened and then it hit a pole, electrical pulse, and it's created a chain reaction to where you're at now, so that to say that one thing relates to another, even though they don't look at face value like they do, one's undercover and one is right in front of you.
Wow, that's fascinating. That's fascinating. Some people will go, man, that's just luck. Right?
Well,
you know what I mean? Or a coincidence.
Right.
And I think it was some philosopher. I think it was Seneca. I could be wrong. But he said preparedness and opportunity is luck.
I like that. Yeah.
Right. I think I could be wrong. I read too much, but that's exactly what you're talking about. Some people will misidentify it when they're not really looking at the individual who did some knowledge collecting, right? Was looking for it and is prepared for it, for the opportunity to find the door. Right. And wow. Fascinating.
Well, yeah. And you want to think in terms of energy. We quote Tesla a lot because he was working in the same kind of scope of things. And we want to think of it in an energetic means, in a electrical means. There's a book that he wrote in '84 called Project Isis with, the goddess Isis, who was the first one written about that used heat. It was all about the book was all about infrared that used heat to heal. And so as a healer goddess, this was the name of the book. So Project Isis was approaching infrared as a means of finding out these solutions, because really it's about finding answers. Most of us are kind of floating around in a soup of our energy. And like you said, social media, there's all these different radiant forces coming at us at all times. And we're in it. We're just floating around in it. Now we might have an issue that comes up and we go, where did this come from? With not having kind of a vision saying, maybe this came from somewhere, sequential energy. Maybe it came in the past. We just think it's, I don't know, it's the bad luck, or it's the whatever. the turn of the day, as it would be. But understanding energy a little bit more, you might look and see, well, maybe this actually did come from, I'm having a bad day and somebody said something to me. And every time somebody says something to me like this, I get a bad day. And I remember a while back, there was somebody that said something like that to me, and that really ticked me off. And now every single time somebody says that, it makes me upset. Now that person's actually targeted a location in the past where they've had an issue pop up. What SAF does is help that person to actually locate that memory where the energy is sitting, where it's stored, and constantly sending signals into the present. Every time you see not just a guy says a word, but a guy of a certain height, with a certain hairdo, the certain clothes on, the sound, the time of year, everything is vortexed into that actual moment. So the job of SAF is to get back and help the person locate that memory and fully remember it. Don't leave it in the shadows, bring it into the light of awareness or consciousness, and help connect the points from that point to the present and saying this is relating to that. It's the unawareness that's creating these flickers of bad luck, so to speak, or the issue to prop up over and over and over again. It just keeps coming up and over and over. And I don't know why. It is these hidden things that we've left into the shadows that are still influencing us.
So what do you do with it
forward.
though? Okay. So what do you do with it? If you identify it, is that fixed right there because you've identified it, or is there something else that's involved?
When I was little, I watched cartoons after school in the 80s. He-Man was in there. By the power of Grayskull, I have the power. Okay, real big. G.I. Joe was really important in my life. And at the end of every episode of G.I. Joe, they would have a lesson, some moral story. And the guy would go, and now you know, and knowing is half the battle. And when you get back to that memory, you now know it. And that's great. That's half of it. It's an unequal, it's an unbalanced situation. So let's say it's a car accident, something kind of dramatic, right? You had a car accident at this point in time, and the car sets you off. The song, whenever it plays, that was playing on the radio, now it sets you off. It all spins programs. You start spinning like accident, prepare. Oh, I'm getting anxious. I don't even know why. And it's this car accident. There's triggers that are happening now that are connecting the electrical energy. It's all out of whack. So you've got to go back to that memory, and you've got to figure out where is the imbalance. And that again is what SAF does. It says, oh, you have this thing. Here's the remedy. Here's how you will counterbalance. You got hit by metal. We're going to put in space. We're going to put in a lack of something to create an equilibrium there, a balancing factor. And that balancing factor will allow the energy to smooth out. So I can use a lot of different metaphors for that, but it'll allow the rope that's tied into a knot to untether and the lines to stretch smooth. The energy moves forward to the present, giving you what should give you as an aha or a positive flow of energy. And our belief is that would give you the opportunity to live a more life without as much distraction, let's just say. Or programs.
How often does that happen? I'm going to share something with you. I'm talking about that kind of recall, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm 7 years old. Our neighbor, is going to the store to buy something. I'm 7. And she asked me to go with her. It's like a convenience store or something. So I jump in her car. I'm sitting in the front seat. I can't see over the I'm 7, right? I'm okay. This is 1972. There's no such thing as seat belts.
All
right. She goes into the store, buys herself, comes back out, gives me, I'm hanging on to this bag, and we take off. we get in an accident, okay?
Mhm.
My face and the bag of stuff in front of me, I go forward and smash into the dashboard into a bag of nacho cheese Doritos that exploded into the car. Probably saved my life, by the way, that pillow effect.
Right. How about that?
But anyway, you would be surprised at how many cars that I've gotten into that smell like Doritos,
Interesting.
and I won't ride in that car. It's like it's weird. I physically I can't do it. You would think that's bullshit. It's not.
I
It's
wouldn't.
not. That trigger
Yeah.
memory, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And it's blocking you from being able to go into that car.
It's
So
blocked me
there's
from
an
a lot
imbalance.
of things, but that's
Yeah.
one of them. Right?
So you might go and it might say in your report, you do the chain, and let's say it does locate that as an issue. Maybe you want to target that. And then it does locate that issue, and you can go in there, and it may say, your diet needs to change in a certain way by eating certain foods that are going to balance out maybe your scent or your experience of corn or something like that. The corn chip or whatever Doritos is actually, whatever paprika and something. So it may say, I use color balancing. So I utilize the color balancing factor in it because it's a lot of just throw on a shirt with a certain color, and I can start to work on balancing the experience out in my present from at that point in time. You would want to probably do something along the lines because you've targeted Doritos. I'm going to say this is actually what you kind of do as you go back, you look at a memory, you start to basically experience the vortex a little bit without re-experiencing. You don't have to open the whole thing up.
Right.
And you definitely don't charge it up because charging it up is just giving it more power. You just want to get in there and look around. You want to holodeck it and you look around and you say, I remember all of these things. What was the temperature is really important. Time of year. Anything you can remember, time of day, try to, triangulate yourself to that point as much as you can in the knowledge of now. Go back and really figure out what's going on. Now that by itself, you've done that. You've now know, okay, now I know why I have an issue with corn chips or, Doritos with paprika, all that stuff. You're not going to clear it just by knowing it. You need to go and find a means of equalizing that infraction on you. That radiant energy that came at you has now pushed into you, and you need to figure out a way to say, hey, you want Doritos? Here's some Doritos, and create some kind of balance there so that when you go to a car, it smells like Doritos, you're like, it's no big deal. If you got a physical injury, the idea is that you're also going to help alleviate the symptoms of that. If you got an emotional scar from it, the idea is that you'll start to alleviate the pressure that was caused in the way back in at 7 years old. That pressure will start to alleviate, and it should. Your body is just, again, it's an electrical thing, and energy is coursing in these paths, creating rivers of energy consistently over and over. Choice, right? Making a choice, which is usually not making a choice, but deciding to path of least resistance. We're looking to get rid of those valleys, get rid of the long running energy lines and smooth it out and make it more freely available so that maybe you can have a clearer choice of going into the car without any kind of spinning issues that might happen.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Let's take our break right here, Nick. But when we come back, I want to discuss the deep past with the ancients. You brought up Gilgamesh, but I want to go backwards a little bit and cover that, what the ancients knew. It's so important for me to understand how they had a grip on consciousness and totally self-aware. But right. It could have been instinctual. It was what you brought up earlier. So we'll do that when we come back. Nic Scogna is our guest. Self-awareness is the evening. We'll be right back after this short break. Nick, stay right there. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back. subscribe to our YouTube channel to get your alerts and access to over 2,000 videos. Click that subscribe button now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com and get the Fade to Black official podcast. 2,000 episodes, all of them commercial free for just $2 a month. I am hosting, speaking, and presenting once again for the Conscious Life Expo, the largest conference of its type in the world. February 20th through the 23rd, 2026 at the LAX Hilton. Speakers, event, and schedule easy. Just visit consciouslifeexpo.com. I will be hosting and speaking at the Sedona Ascension Retreat, March 20th through the 22nd, 2026 in Sedona, Arizona. An amazing list of speakers, and it's beautiful Sedona. Come and hang out with us and just go to SedonaAscensionRetreats.com. I'm heading back to the Midwest for the Contact Modalities Expo, May 1st through the 3rd, 2026, in Delavan, Wisconsin, at the Lake Resort. It is beautiful. This is a great conference right in the heart of the Midwest, where I'm from. I'll see you there. Just go to Contact Modalities Expo, that's XPO.com. I will be hosting and presenting once again at Contact in the Desert. That's May 28th through June 1st, 2026, the largest UFO conference in the world. Come and hang out with us June 23rd through July 1st. Tickets and everything else that you need is at contactinthedesert.com. Want to change your life? Want that paradigm shift? Then visit Peru with Brian Forrester and myself for the Inca Celebration of the Sun, June 23rd through July 1st, 2026. A full 10 days of visiting the country, all of the amazing sights, and of course, the celebration of the winter solstice. It's all simple to do. Go to hiddenincatours.com. Come join us for the Monty Python Scotland Tour, August 1st through the 9th, 2026. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event where you get to go to the castles from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. August 1st through the 9th, 2026. Just visit HaleyARamsey.com. Watch Into the Vortex on Gaia TV. It's Fade to Black for the screen. Simple to do. Go to Gaia.com, search Jimmy Church, or click on the link below. Follow Fade to Black on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Get all of the show updates every single day. It's now called X, but who cares? Go to jimmychurchradio.com and become a Fadernaut. Get a membership. That's right. Everything is commercial free. You have access to downloads, and you get to call yourself a Fadernaut.
Jimmy Church, Gaia TV, Fade to Black, here at Machu Picchu with Brian Forrester and Hidden Inca Tours. Amazing tour so far, Brian, but we're here to announce what we're going to do next year in 2026. What's going on?
Okay, November 2026, we're going to have our major tour of Peru and Bolivia, either a pre or post tour of Paracas and Nazca on the coast. And then after that, 6 days in Easter Island.
Bucket list, Easter Island. Come join Brian and I and his amazing team here at Hidden Inca Tours for Peru, Bolivia, and Easter Island. Signing out. Say goodbye, Brian.
Bye, gang.
Yeah!
River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Truly the best coffee on planet Earth. Just visit rivermoonwellness.com or their Amazon store. It's all simple to do. You can check out the Fade to Black blend, the Game Changer blend, or any of their Black Moon Wellness products. It's the only coffee I drink. It is the best, and it's Doc. Again, rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Nic Scogna is with us. We're talking about SAF tonight, the self-awareness formula. He's got a book out called SAF Simplified. The links for everything for Nic are below, but go and check that out too as well. Everything is right there. What a great conversation so far, Nic. And I often wonder about our lack of self-awareness today, including empathy too as well, our lack of that. But if we go back into deep history, I brought up lions earlier, right? The animal kingdom, they are self-aware, right? I think it's in their DNA. They're not working out complex issues that we know of, But if we go back into deep history, the first human that bit into a strawberry, the first human that and had that joy and that whole I can't wait. Okay, so but that thought, that emotion that they went through is a reflection of self-awareness, but they didn't have a label for it. And so self-awareness was a natural thing that we have gotten away from. And that's the problem that I have right now. I brought up social media earlier. There's a total lack of self-awareness. In fact, you have like two personalities in social media, right? You have the real person, and then you have that alternate ego that is triggering others and not reflecting in self-awareness on why they are doing it. And if they did have any idea of self-awareness, they wouldn't do it at all. So where do we lose it over the years, and why?
Well, so that pattern that we're creating, we're basically training ourselves with different technologies to remove certain obligations that we might keep, social contracts, that sort of thing. We're kind of losing our what's been established for physical contact. And of course, this has been, talked about forever as the age of Aquarius, as the age of information. This is all kind of expected that we're going to be in an Aquarian kind of world, right? Which is, I use a metaphor for what an Aquarius is. No offense, Aquarius. I think they're great. It's the water bearer sign. And to me, what is a water bearer? What is floating up there in the sky is a cloud. So it's like being in the clouds, somewhat removed from grounded earth, very, very mental air sign, but fixed, a fixed air sign. Very, very interesting. We're in it. We're in the cusp of it. We're basically in it. And we're seeing that removal of our physicalness from part of contact and part of what makes air signs so dynamic is their communication and their social means. Libras, Geminis, and Aquarians all have different methods of existing in people's company and have a different will and desire and all of that. And when we're in leaving Pisces and going into Aquarius, we're really removing a lot of that water emotional type of contact that we had and going into more of a psychic, perhaps, sphere of contact with people.
So are you suggesting that it's just in our DNA? That it's already there for us to recognize and work on?
I mean, I'm blending a little bit, but yes, it is in our DNA. I think that we are creating behavior patterns that are reflective of the society that we're in currently, if that makes any sense.
Well, it does. And back to the animal kingdom, in this idea, we have the ability now with consciousness and thought to think of the craziest things that we can't even see. Atoms, protons, right? Photons, electrons. I mean, crazy, all the way to the smallest of the micro to the macroest of the macro, that we have the ability to ponder these very complex ideas.
Yeah.
Does a dog think like this? Does a dog think about death? Does the,
We don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah.
Do they look up to the stars and go, I wonder if there's dogs up there?
Yeah. And again, that is the stage of development, the ability for them to contain a certain amount of reflectiveness. How many times has their DNA been around the cycle, so to speak, and reflected on itself? How many times has that crystal been able to see itself that allowed it to develop more complexity of understanding? And it's probably not an all or nothing. Maybe some dogs do. And we're just not aware of it because we don't have the means of reading it and interpreting it. One thing you can do with infrared that was done during my dad's time and then my mom further developed is to use the infrared with animals. It removes a need for somebody to have to say what they're feeling and experiencing and log it.
Okay, what are we talking about here with infrared?
Infrared scanning allows you to take heat temperatures off of animals and people and compose that through math into a chain of numbers to kind of locate what the situation, what the issue may be. We call it major complaint with the animal. What is the animal's depressed and not sure why? We have a story about the horse, a horse that got scanned. Basically, it was infrared scanning. Horse was very depressed, and they didn't know what they could do. And apparently, through the chain, it came out that the horse was sad that it had lost its job. It was a running horse, and it just lost its job. So the answer was to give it more time to, run around and do things, do laps and whatnot. Again, knowing what the issue is, you can kind of alleviate some of the pressure for the animals. But because we're talking about math, we're able to do it with if we have the right tracking, we have the ability to scan anything and compose it into a chain that will tell us what we're looking to find out.
Now, is that physical or emotional? Is it both?
The scans are physical because it's heat radiation, but it does, of course, it's both. The questionnaires are both mental, emotional, and there's a separate one that's physical. So that one is divided into two different camps. But the scans will pull both because if, let's say, you feel embarrassed, you're going to get a flow of heat, of energy into your mainframe, your screen. Something's going on, something's happening. Then it's going to kind of flood at different places in your face. We do face scan currently. In my dad's time, it was an Apple IIe computer, and he could do any part of the body. He had mapped out many different parts. A lot of it coincides with acupuncture. So if you think along the lines of basically ley lines of the body, where energy courses through and organs and glands will vent their heat at certain points around the body, different places, hands, the ear, the face, the feet, and allow you access to a person's basic functionings. And what the infrared reading does is it translates that heat, that very, minute down to 1/10 of a degree, changes in heat will allow you to create a chain that will give you an objective approach to the person's condition or major complaint, whatever it might be. It does remove the person from it quite a bit, but the chains of the subjective and the objective readily do not match. They don't match, but they should connect at the right points, which is usually the beginning and the middle, and sometimes the end.
That's almost, well, that's the question, isn't it? It feels like ancient Eastern medicine.
Yeah, it's yes, because he
if you know
utilized
what I mean,
that. Right. Yeah.
Right. Where they had an understanding of something else outside of our reality that is influencing us, getting to the root of the problem. Everything tends to influence something else. There's a cause. You can put a Band-Aid on it. That's Western medicine, right?
Mhm.
Like your dad with the antibiotics, right?
Right.
You put a Band-Aid, or you can get to the root issue of what is going on.
Yeah.
And that feels very ancient to me, where we fully understood at some point all of this,
Yeah. Right.
right? It's crazy how why is could you see this rolling over into Western medicine, and is it doing that now?
Well, that was my dad's approach initially because he
Right.
utilized it in clinics, and he wanted to get as many people. He needed data, so he wanted to get as many trials with the system. That was when it was mostly hand done. Then he did move it into like chiropractic offices and things like that back in the day. Medical symptomatologists, people that were working with people in different, physical or mental, emotional. At the time, he kind of gave it up because the want and desire of the medical community is to have something that's a quick fix, and this is not necessarily there's a little bit of work that has to happen. You want an answer? Okay, great. But you have to do more than just get an answer. We call it the 4 A's. You have to get the answer. You have to act on it. You have to achieve your goal. And then you also have to acknowledge that you achieved your goal. And that's not something a chiropractor may want to spend time with. They may want to just do the quick scan and get a chain and see some differences and do some adjustments and send them on their way. He ran into a lot of issues with that, which is why in like 85, he started turning it out to just anybody and everybody, trying to make it less medical and more approachable.
Did he, I'm not saying this to be funny, did he ever like come to you, maybe it's dinner, like, hey, Nick, saw your report card today. It's time for an infrared scan.
Yeah, I blocked it out. When he got the infrared, I do remember getting I believe it was my hand scanned when he brought it, home, basically to say, I got this nifty thing. I did get a hand scan, and I don't know that it was like that anything even came of it. It was just, I would have been 6 or 5 or something like that. So it was like, oh, cool. Beep, 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 but luckily, I think, for us, there are many hours worth of video and audio of him doing seminars with people with the infrared, without the infrared in the early days. We can kind of glean a lot from what he was trying to, what he was learning, because it was really a 15-year period, and he died in 89. So it was a 15-year period where he was really just cranking it out and doing seminars and expos and anything he could do to get the word out. He got a plane and he flew himself to different seminars because it was costly and time consuming, and he needed to be everywhere all at once. So, he's a very interesting guy and very humorous. So if you hear him in his seminars, he's a joke cracker. It can be kind of difficult sometimes to tell if he's telling a funny story to be funny, or if he's telling a funny story because it's a funny story. He just had a lot of humor. And he did not, but that I know of. And he mostly was doing this for clinical for most of the time. It was only towards the end that he really started saying, I need to make this more universally approachable. The offices, the doctor's offices aren't really, they're treating it like it's a scanning system, like a x-ray machine. And it doesn't do that. You need to actually process what's coming in and work it. One of the things that he had discovered and named dragons was that there was actually, if you have energy and it's latent in your system and it's in the past and it's influencing your present, it's acting on its own, you have something that is an automaton. You have something that's in you that is maybe not something you want in you, that is actually almost intelligent unto itself, because it creates dynamics to help proliferate itself and make itself stronger. So he called them dragons because in, again, Eastern philosophy, there are energetic dragons that, people are working with for good or bad. So he wanted to bring this out to people. He wanted to help people, and he wanted to raise the vibration of everybody, get their awareness of themselves up. So maybe that they would act differently, in the company of others.
And it's not, it's the opposite of some philosophers' existential application to human growth, where this is a mix of physical, not only trauma, but bringing in something like life energy, which we need to spend some time on. And it's the opposite of that. It's not existential necessarily. It's something that can be identified.
Yeah, and he composed a whole cosmology utilizing physics equations. He composed a whole process of somebody to attain, their greatest and highest levels. Most of it,
which is what I'm
understand.
referring to. Which is what I'm referring to, right?
Yeah.
He's got data. He's got an application of this and applying this to health, as opposed to some philosopher. I'm not going to go into Nietzsche, but where it is some deeply untouchable thing that's out there that people cannot understand.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of what I've uncovered was in the last 5 years, because I was able to spend so much time digesting the seminars so that I could really understand it and get it. Because a lot of it, I had a surface understanding. It was really hard for me to approach it because it was such a ginormous system. Mm-hmm. It just like in 2005, I asked my mom, because I, had a turn. I thought I was going to change my career path at the time, and I was like, I'll start selling SAF. I'll start going around and trying to promote it and see what happens. And I asked her, I said, who do I go to? Like, what kind of people are into this? She's like, oh, anybody, just go to anybody. I'm like, huh? I needed a target. I need to know where I'm supposed to go to help sell this, so the people that, goes to the right hands. He said, you can go to chiropractic offices, or it was just anything. And I was just like, I don't know. It's too big. Because there's 30 remedies that we have online. So 30 different modalities that people might use to get find the balance and work the chain. That's a lot of different fields. So I really just was not, I came at it from my mind on more of a philosophical, conceptual line. I saw the numbers. I was like, is this like numerology? What is this? And she said, no, it's just, they're like placeholders. They're just, it's not about the number. The number is what it symbolizes or what it represents. It's not numerology where it's like this whole, you're number one, oh, okay. Which I did all that and I learned all that. For myself, I wanted to learn about myself. I spent my early years just digesting as many different systems as I could to figure out why I ticked. And I just wasn't aware that SAF, my dad, did the same thing, but he did it from a physiology perspective and wrote it all down, knowing exactly what he was doing. He studied all these different physicists, Einstein. He's like, well, who did Einstein learn from? And just kind of delved into that realm of things. So we look at EMC squared as energy equals matter over concept squared. So it's a little different, because we're looking at it and approaching it from what he would say is the spiritualists' approach to reality. A more complete.
Do you have? Can you read minds?
That
was my next question. Did your dad? Did your dad ever experiment with plant medicines?
Oh, as psychoactives?
It could be anything. What comes to mind immediately with this discussion, is Terrence McKenna and ayahuasca and DMT, where some of these things, like with McKenna and the I Ching, right, and trying to apply a mathematical, trying to understand the concept of everything, and it just may be readable and presentable. So, and you could see these patterns. Did your dad?
He used the I Ching. He used the I Ching. No, I would say, to give some reference as to who he was not a fitness nut, but he was very intent on physical strength and nutrition. He was, I guess he would have been 20 around 1969. And I will say that he wasn't necessarily a hippie, but he was definitely alternative and health oriented. Think health food stores in the 70s and that kind of thing. He did not do any LSDs or anything like that. I don't think mushrooms. I don't know, but he did talk about them as to like what's happening when you take them and why he wouldn't take them. Because, again, I think, and I understand it a little differently because I can say, some people need to rattle their cage a little bit to get out of themselves. Or do they need to? I don't really know. But if they're really caught up in something, it seems that people that I've talked to have had really great results with psilocybin and depression and a nice output of certain things. You take something and then you get a really, your life kind of changes, hopefully in a positive way. He didn't do that. He was more on the lines of health and wellness and really being sober, like super sober mentally. He would not go to a hypnotherapist, anybody that was going to be, messing with his programs, so to speak, or anything that would mess with his programs. He really didn't want anything to do with it. He really wanted to keep his faculties, his mental, his want and desire was for, to achieve the highest mental state as possible, the supreme mental intelligence and all that.
Your spiritual approach to life, and also your aura, speaks of the child of a hippie, like you grew up in a commune.
Yeah, and I couldn't tell you that I did.
That's a compliment, by the way. But it seems that your dad was a pure free thinker that wasn't going to be influenced by others' thoughts.
Basically, yeah. He was very intent on helping people to free themselves from whatever was ailing them and controlling them. And a lot of what he did, you have somebody coming on from the Monroe Institute. A lot of what my dad did was definitely gearing towards creating something of that sort, because he wanted to track the development of the physical, the emotional, the psychic, and the spiritual of a person, to kind of have a very full experience and to know things on such a level that like, this must be happening to me because I have this knowledge. I can say that it's probably happening to me. Mapping these things out and then tracking them and then developing them and seeing how they develop and doing them better. The whole idea of SAF is to do the things that you do, but do them better, do them with more energy, do them with more opportunity, or whatever might come from releasing yourself of the binds of the past and bringing it into all that energy, freeing it up, basically.
A very Joseph Campbell-ish.
Yeah, because it touches into the realm of, I love Hermeticism, the concept of that, and when I read a lot of what my dad wrote, it's very much of the more classic ideas of cosmology of the world, the dichotomies, as above, so below, that kind of thing. It's all in there. And it really depends on where you're at in your life when you read the work that he's put out as to what you're going to get from it. And then if you read it in 5 years, there's stuff that you were like, I never saw this. That kind of work.
Well, here's the other part of this. When we're younger, let's go with 20s. Let's go like in our 20s. We don't give a shit about any of this.
Right.
Right. It's weird how as you grow up and you mature, whatever it is, that these things are so important. So important.
Right.
And these are values that I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. And I'm certainly not the only person to say this.
Right. Right.
But as you get older, you start to I don't know if it's philosophical or whatever it is, but you just start to ask yourself the question: did I do my best? Did I give it my best crack at it, or did I fail? Did I waste it all? Well, you don't think like that when you're a kid.
Right. No. And nobody can tell you different. No.
Oh, they try to.
Of course.
Right.
Do your best bet,
Oh man. I had a coworker. I was probably 22, black guy, older guy. And he ran a printing press in the back. He was a genius with that. It was just amazing what he could do and print and lithographs. And he was just incredible. But this guy would sit me down and talk about life in the morning, right?
Yeah.
And he would have like a subject a day. And he was so wise. And I gave him the courtesy of listening. By lunch, I forgot everything that he said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. But it got logged.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about it now.
Right.
It
lives on.
What is, speaking of that, what is life energy? And is life energy the soul? Is it consciousness? Is it a combination, or is it completely separate? What is life energy?
I mean, it gets really deep, and I'll do my best.
Please.
Life energy is the dynamic force that courses through everything that exists. Consciousness is an output of it, so it's wed to it. You have one, so you're going to have life energy becoming aware of itself. And that's kind of what we're saying at a certain point, because we are it. So we have to say, we can't say we're removed from it. We're part of it. So life energy is a dynamic force of energy. It's in everything. And then at a certain stage of development, of containment, consciousness it erupts or becomes part of the equation, because life energy has seen enough cycles, like 52 years old, right? You've seen enough cycles that you now, it's said, oh, look, we're coming around again. And guess what? Guess what's going to happen? I can predict it, and that awareness builds out of this continual churning. So consciousness is also very prolific, let's say, because life energy being dynamically everywhere, it's very early on that that process begins to happen, for consciousness to start happening. But it erupts out at what we call level 7, at the very low end of like protein developments and all that. So dynamic force throughout the universe.
and the soul.
Soul. Well, we're getting a little bit more into something that may be different for different people, and it really depends on what you mean by the soul. If you mean what goes away what stays alive when your body goes away, then that may be your expression, your reflection of consciousness that is part of consciousness. Something that I found really interesting in contemplating this, because that's all I'm really doing, is that new show, Pluribus, where all the people are infected with this, mind virus of sorts. They all become themselves, that they all become one, basically. Consciousness is not going to grow that way. In fact, it's going to get stifled. Consciousness wants the opposition. It wants the friction. And,
Pluribus is deep.
Pluribus, great. Yeah.
It's
Twilight Zone episode, apparently. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, very good.
It has got me. I just said dude like 3 times. Dude.
It's so good. It's that good.
Dude. Yeah. And it is.
Yeah.
And it allows us to really think about the soul, consciousness, and individuality, and how important that actually is to be different.
Yeah.
To be different. It's a fun show. If it's just science fiction that you want, and you want the alien invasion taking over the earth, okay, all right.
Got it. Yeah.
But it's layered, man.
Yeah. Well, because you really have to think about, like, well, what is that experience? And it's anybody and everybody's consciousness
right now. Yeah. Who am I talking to right now?
Right. I want to talk to that reflection of consciousness that I know as this person. Is basically what they're saying, and that's kind of what you're asking. What's a soul? Is that reflection that knows those things, and it's almost like the Akashic records, or something that you can tap with psychic energy, that or remote viewing. Even is that it exists in the span of everything. So I have a way to approach it. I can find it. I can see it somewhere. I can ask consciousness, well, where's that big freighter? Oh, it's over there. Okay, thank you. And obviously in a way of doing it. My dad was developing something very similar to that. I don't know if he was connected at all to operations that were going on at the time, but a lot of it is very similar to what you would experience, in developing psychic abilities, working with somebody else and working on reading their mind, and then separating the distance and working on doing the same thing, kind of learning the person, and then going out, 5 miles away and doing the same thing, and just kind of developing it with a partner, so to speak, a compadre.
Yeah, they're talking about DNA and pluribus, by the way, is that I think inherent in all of us is that we like to be a part of a group, right? That's one of the, and if you're not part of a group and you're looking at that group, well, feel a little jealous, right? I want to be with the cool kids, over there. So there's that part.
Yeah.
Pluribus shows us that being a part of the biggest group where everything is shared and everything is the same, that is not a good thing. Yeah. But what do they do in Pluribus? Come on in. The water's fine.
Yeah, right.
You're gonna love it. Oh, yes, right.
Join us.
Being individual is key. That is fundamental.
Yeah,
being individual, and right now that's one of the problems on this planet, right? I think that if we really want to look at something scary, is that suddenly being individual and not being like everybody else, you're the outlier, and you're not liked.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I think a lot about the future and what our possibilities and potentials would be or could be. Not a lot of things are possible for us unless we actually begin to find a way to raise our self-awareness and our connection to others in such a way that we're less combative.
Well, do we have okay, Nick? So that throws it out there. Do we have to go to the edge of darkness to understand it?
Yeah. Good question. It seems, no, we don't. But it seems that if you want to get an animal to react, you do have to push it into a corner, or it has no other option. So my fear is, obviously there's a lot of, terrible potential in the world. We have to be pushed into a corner. How far do we have to push into a corner before we actually make the changes that are necessary to achieve greater unity for the planet without some kind of, overseer that maybe isn't so great or lives off of our strife? There has to be some means of doing it that's not so dramatic, but it does seem like the human nature is almost predictable in the way that it's going to have to push it into a corner, and humans will then react in a way that's, normal, Basically, it's really just acting the way that any animal would act, pushed into a corner, fight back. So an emotion comes out of that. You have to fight back, fight to survive, as it were. It seems that we're not heeding the lessons that we may have been given or passed down for generations and generations from previous existences or civilizations. It seems
Well,
that we are
in
not doing
modern
that.
society. Well, in modern, I just cut you off, Nick. I
It's all right.
apologize for that.
I don't mind.
But in modern society, that's where we have those issues here, right? It's a first world problem.
It's a first world problem, right?
It's 100% a first world problem. You go to the mountaintop, you go out into the deep desert somewhere, and you're hanging out with a culture that doesn't give a shit about Facebook or whatever, right? And you go, and we are talking about the most wonderful, balanced, right? Where they've just got smiles. That serious. Now their issues that they're dealing with are pretty cool issues. Right? It's a totally different thing. They're not transferring money between PayPal and the checking account so they can pay their car bill. And meanwhile, they're fighting with somebody in Twitter and all of these things where their mind is screwed. And happiness and bliss is removed from the equation. Well, we have 300 million people in America doing just that. But there are cultures in this planet that don't have those issues, man. And I'm here to tell you, they're just fine. They're happy.
I remember reading a book about it was somebody coming from, I think, New York or Florida or somewhere, going to the Amazon and living with, learning from and living with a tribe there, and from the shaman. And it was just the message was really pretty simple. Go back and change the dream. Change the way that everybody's dreaming. You're all dreaming this into reality. Change the way that you're dreaming, and you change everything. It's just that the distraction levels are so high for the potential for really mass destruction of people that are living in bliss in other places, that there is a potential for mass destruction even in their realm of paradise, because we're sharing a planet. And that seems to be the main issue of unequilibrium, is that we all breathe the same air.
It's crazy. I truly believe in two things. Everybody in the United States should leave the country for a little bit, for a week. Go. I don't care where.
Right.
Just go and experience something and come back and look around you. That's the first thing. Second, I think every elected official has to smoke DMT to be elected. but I truly believe in those two things, right? What a different planet this place would be. But I'm at 13,000 feet. I'm on a mountaintop in Peru, and I'm walking around, and I think I was at Morai. I might have been at Morai. Anyway, so I'm walking around top of this mountain, and I'm away from it. I'm by myself, and I smelled food. Right? I smelled food, like in the middle of dude. There's no trees growing where I'm at, right? Okay, so I smell food. So I'm following my nose, and I come upon these three beautiful old ladies. All right, wearing their stuff. I mean, and they're cooking. And I come up, dude, I'm a fat, white trailer park American, right? And I come rolling in, hey, right? And they speak Quechua. Yeah, they speak Quechua. They don't
Quechua,
speak. Yeah. And so anyway, I come in, I'm like, what you guys doing? You know, and I'm looking in the pots, and they got 3 pots cooking, and they're smiling. And one of them took out a paper plate, and started piling food on it and handed it to me. And I sat there, Nick, I sat there for probably an hour, half hour, with women that I couldn't talk to. They couldn't talk to me, but we sat and laughed and ate together and had the most wonderful experience. Right.
Yeah.
And that says Americans need to go and experience that.
Yeah.
And like remove these things and these thoughts that were presented every single day, because it's simply not true. There are people out there that are fully self-aware.
Oh yeah. And I think that's probably why so many of these travel and eat shows are so popular, is because people are kind of living vicariously through them to experience another culture's food and culture and behaviors and mannerisms, to see how the other side, how the other places are outside of their existence, how they're living. I think that's why they're popular. Maybe they're popular with a lot of people that like to travel or just like food, but I think people want to experience these things, but they also want the security, or they feel that they can't do these things because they have obligations that won't allow it.
Yeah, the government should pay for it. Everybody gets a free trip overseas.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean,
I'm down.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Right. My shaman, his name is Wilco, and he speaks Quechua, right? And Wilco is amazing. So he comes wandering up to find me. Right. I'm away from there. And he comes up and he sees me with these three. We're sitting on buckets, right? And we're just sitting there eating it. And he comes up and now he's speaking to them. Yeah. And they're trying, and he turns to me and he goes, "They think you're funny." I go, "Dude, they don't even know what I'm saying." No, they love you. And so we had this conversation with Wilco, which was absolutely wonderful. And we ended up taking pictures. My point is, I walked away from that smarter, better, right? You know what I mean? That's something that you don't get that from Nat Geo. You're not going to get that from a book.
Yeah, no. And that's a lot of this too, is that, like I said, you can read the book, and then 5 years later you read it again, there's something more, but you're only just digesting knowledge. You're getting halfway there. It's really the acting on it. It's really making it happen in actuality. You can go and look at the videos. You can watch you hanging out in Peru, but unless I go there and really, smell the air, feel the senses, allow my perceptions to take in all that's there, I'm only going to get a little bit of a digest from it. I'm only going to get so much out of it. And will it translate into wisdom? It's unlikely, because it's just something that I read or saw on TV or something like that. It'll leave an impression, but not much of one.
Well, we were talking about that earlier, right? The stuff that you carry with you for your life. For me, it was a bag of mashed Doritos on my face, but it's the smells and the things and the stuff that you carry on forever. Well, how do you take that self-awareness and actually start to change yourself and those good habits and bad habits?
I mean, it is the work. The work is going back and learning about yourself, because it is your life. You lived it. It's your story. I think it'd be very valuable for most people to write and to maybe write their story, but they may have lost or forgotten a lot of these memories until they start to track back, until they start to time travel into their self and find these old memories that have been sitting there to bring joy or, sadness or whatever, but it's all part of the book. It's already there anyway. And it's that reflection of consciousness that's leaving. So you might as well write about it, and we can all maybe learn from it. What SAF allows us to do is to say, you're not bound to the restrictions that were placed on you by the experience. You have the ability to do something about it, which is very unique. I liked astrology a lot. It tells me a lot about people on certain motivations and things like that, but I don't know about their life experiences. I don't know what's made them who they are. And they likely don't know that either. And they are who they are, and that's what they think it is. That's it. Astrology can help you with that, but it doesn't necessarily give you full action. Like, how do I get out of this? How do I get, yeah, great, I'm this. And it's because of this aspect here and there or whatever. How do you change that? How do you make that not part of the gravity, the thing that's the matter in your life? And that is to alleviate it, usually with concept, with some kind of form of space.
You know what's weird about astrology for me? And I love it. I love astrology. Okay. If you really look at astrology from a scientific standpoint, there is no free will.
Right.
I swear.
No, you're right. You're right. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I have astrologer friends that are the most loved, my best friends. Right.
Yeah.
Well, they will turn around and say, okay, this is just a suggestion, right? This is, it's up to you to
Right.
look at this and choose your path going forward. So there is still free will. It's weird, man.
Within the sphere.
Yes.
So you're not going outside of the sphere. And that I think is where the illusion is, that you can, hey, I'm doing something that's not typical to the pattern of my chart, for an example.
That's
you meet somebody that says, oh, I hate astrology and I don't want to be what they say my sign is, because I think it's a horrible sign, and I'm going to do my best not to be that way. But somehow I could probably pick them out and say, you know what, you're this, because their actions are still riding along what's the gravity of the matter.
Yeah, the astrologer's holding you down on the ground, pinning you down. You're fighting it, man. You are a Libra, man. There's nothing that, there's something you can do about it. Now, in the time that we have left, I do want to go back to the ancients for a second.
Yeah.
Because exactly what you're talking about, all of it was written into scrolls and on walls in Egypt. Yeah. And so when the idea of these concepts being there millennia, 5,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, 7,000 years ago, where Anubis is weighing your heart, right?
Yeah.
Against a feather. Were you good enough? No? Okay.
Yeah.
You got to go back. You got to rewind.
If your heart is heavier with the weight of the world than the feather of Matt, or something like that, or a feather, then you're doomed to go back and try again. Law of conservation. I mean, you get a lot of very obvious things that come out of that are like, oh,
you're going with the second law of thermodynamics, and you're going to apply that here.
I don't know.
Well done.
Don't use the big words.
I like where you're going.
But it is clear that they had a knowledge base of plants and of existence. They were in contact with something that was able to share that. I would say that my thoughts are riding more towards, you think about shamans and the use of different medicines. Some of them will kill you. And how many shamans died, or guinea pigs or whatever, before they realized the dosage of this medicine that will kill you if you have too much of it, or something like that. Was it trial and error like that? And if you talk to medicine men or shamans of the Amazon, they'll tell you that the plants will tell them. Like, they don't even go about it the route that we think they go about it. Oh, you got to try it and see. And they're just all dying, right? No, that's not how they say they do it at all. And I think it behooves us to listen to people that are a little closer to the earth, or a little closer to traditions of the past, and hear what they have to say as to what the process is, and not just assume that it has to fit our model of the current physicalityness of life or science, as it were.
That's right. That's right. They didn't have the distractions. They were able to just focus on alternative, maybe realities, or anything else deep inside the mind, without the distractions that we have today. If you really think about it, I love the way that you just put that, because for 3,000 years in Egypt, I'll use that as an example, but many cultures went through this.
Yeah.
But the Egyptians had it to the extreme. For 3,000 years, the sun came up in the east, went down in the west, without a cloud in the sky. perfect. Every day was the same. Think about that, right? So the Nile's going to flood. We've got food. We've got too much of everything. We have perfect days, perfect weather, no snow, no hurricanes, no tornadoes, no nothing. Every day was. So what do you do with that? Where everything is just perfect every single day for 3,000 years. You know what you do? You figure shit out.
Right. Refine things. Yeah.
You refine things.
That gets into that idea of the three body problem, where their culture, the other planet, that culture was, constantly forced to go into retreat. They could never develop.
Reset.
Yeah, they had to constantly reset. And, look on our planet. Likely we've had to do that multiple times too. And we may be approaching another bottleneck. We just don't know. But very likely there was some form of understanding of the body and the human and our experience here in a way that we were able to get answers from nature in a very different way than we do currently, at least in, the Western world. It's sad because you're removed, but also that's the role of consciousness, is to be removed and look back and reflect and grow and develop. And it seems to be very human nature of us to do what we're doing anyway, kind of spiraling.
Spiraling. Repeat and have amnesia.
Yes. Whereas you see in Egypt, they have apparently long told tales of 7,000 years ago, that was carried down because they didn't have the change. They didn't have the drama of shifting for 8,000 years or whatever it was. Give us enough time and we will develop cities. We will do the things that we do as a culture. In the Hopi tradition, they say, and I'll try to make that quick. They will say that there's been many ages, and each time mankind becomes loses its way from the creator's path and the world gets destroyed and a new world is created. And it's only those that stay true to the sun or the creator that get to live past the destructions of the planet until they were in is it the final world?
Don't get cocky. Right? Don't get cocky.
Right. I'll do it. Don't build cities. It's really the lesson.
Don't think you got it all figured out, because as soon as you do that, right? Amazing. Fascinating conversation, Nick. I really look forward to having you back on. Today we did a bunch of different things, but I would like to bring you back and let's just focus on whatever it is and go deep. But just
pick a book and
we can do absolutely. Where can everybody follow your stuff?
We go to lifeenergypublications.com. That's the main hub. And there we have the books. I have a lot of information, also doing free classes, and we have a training program. It's one thing to get the chain of numbers. It's another thing to actually interpret it. So we have a program that allows you to translate the chain of numbers through a series of books. It's a real course. It takes about 3 months. And you can learn to translate the numbers of the chain so that you can find out the answers to your quandaries.
Yeah, fascinating, man. Yeah. What a great conversation, Nick. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And do me a favor, go figure out some more stuff and come back and tell me about it.
I'll keep working. Right? That's it. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Nick. Good stuff, man. Thank you so much. Nic Scogna, everybody. His links are below. Thank you, Bill, for popping it up right there in the chat. I just saw it pop up. But it is in the description below over on our website and throughout social media. There you go. What an amazing night and a great way to kick off the week here. Thank you, Nick. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Until tomorrow night, what are we doing? Oh, man, I can't believe I just said that once again on this show. Tomorrow, it's St. Paddy's Day. Yeah, so we're going to go to the paranormal side of that island over there in the United Kingdom. It's all Irish tomorrow. That's what we are going to do. I'll see everybody tomorrow night. But until then, all I've got is go Backley Tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go back, Lee Tappy.